Hi, and welcome to the latest update of MakeTile. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, it's been way longer coming than I and probably you would have liked. Unfortunately, I got very ill around about Christmas time, and it's taken me several months to recover. However, I'm better now, and I've got some new features and some new tile options to show you. So I spent the last few weeks updating MakeTile to be compatible with 2.93, so that's now done, as well as sort of doing quite a lot of refactoring behind the scenes to make the code easier to deal with, because it got a bit messy in places, and also implementing these new features that I'm about to show you. So the first one is redo panels. So now, when you create a tile in MakeTile, this little redo panel will pop up in the bottom left-hand corner. By default, these are minimized. So if you just click on that, you'll see that there's now some tile options there. And this allows you to tweak your tile after creation. So you can, change the dimensions, change the base, change the material, change the native subdivisions for more detailed or less detailed tiles, and depending on the tile type, you'll have more options here. So one thing to be aware of with this is that every time you make a change here, it rebuilds the tile from scratch. And while that's fine for a tile like this, which is very simple, for some of the more complicated ones like the roofs or the L tiles, it can take a little bit of time for them to update. So just be aware of that. If you are using the roof tiles, for example, and you don't want it to update automatically, you can just click on the little car icon, the auto icon, and turn off auto update, make your changes, and then click on refresh, and your changes will be shown in the viewport. You can also reset your tile to its defaults at any time. Just click here. Because I've got auto update turned off, it's not shown anything in the window, but if I click on that, you can see that it's back to its defaults. And if I click on auto update, make some changes, and then click on reset defaults, you can see how that works. Okay, so that's the redo panels, and that's been implemented for all of the tile types, and it just makes it easier to change your tiles and tweak them after you've created them. So changes reflected here are reflected, changes made here are reflected in the main panel here. So if you make a change here and then want to create another tile with the same settings, you can do that in the same way as you've always been able to do. Now it's worth noting that this will disappear as soon as you select something else. So you can only make those changes sort of immediately after creation, and that's just the way that Blender works. So I've also now implemented wall-on-floor tile types for the straight walls and the curved walls. Now these are called S-walls because that's what they're called in the OpenLock system. And to create a tile which has got a wall on a floor, just create a straight wall or a curved wall, and then either here or in the redo panel set the base type to OpenLock S-wall or plain S-wall. Okay, and that will create a wall which sits on a floor, and you can just change that, and you can see that this is a separate floor piece. You can change the wall position to either be on the center or on the side, and you can change the materials separately for the wall and for the floor. So by default the floor bits have got the floor tiles material on, but you can change that to cobbles, and wall you can change to say regular stone blocks. So because we now have these tiles which have got more than one area which has got a material on, I no longer have this sort of main material option here. Instead, in the tile options for each of the individual tiles, you'll now see that there are separate places for setting the materials. So you've got those for the S tiles and also for the roofs at the moment. So because you've got more than one area which has got a material applied to, when you make them 3D, you can make the wall 3D separately to the floor bit, or you can just select both parts and make them both 3D at the same time. I've also created a roof tile material, which is now the default for the rooftop of the roofs. So that's just basically it's a custom image material which has got a roof tile displacement map added to it. So it has some options that you can tweak, but it doesn't have as many as the procedural materials. So yeah, so that's pretty much everything. There are a couple of minor changes which I've made. So one of them is when you go to export, you can now set the export subdivisions here separately to up here, and that means that you can sort of keep everything in the viewport at a low level of subdivision, but export at a higher level. It just keeps things moving, quickly. One thing I've noticed is if you have the 3D print toolkits installed, it's an add-on which comes with Blender, you'll have this fixed non-manifold option down here for when you're exporting things. This is supposed to correct for sort of errors in the mesh. Now I've noticed that for some reason this doesn't work as well as it used to. I think I'm not entirely sure why, but it's nowhere near as reliable as it used to be. So I've sort of set the default for that to be off. I do find that quite often when I use it, it makes things worse. But if you do have errors when you're exporting a mesh, it's worth just trying with this option to see whether it does fix things. Okay, so that's about it for now. The asset browser has got a few issues at the moment, a couple of bugs in it, so I'm going to do a quick pass on that next. Although, I mean, development on that is still somewhat in limbo. And the reason for that is the Blender core team are implementing a Blender internal asset browser, and the MakeTile asset manager needs really to integrate with that. Unfortunately, that's been knocked back again, this time to Blender 3.0, which is out in a few months. And I don't know, I mean, given that I think we're now in the 6th year, possibly the 7th, of the asset manager being talked about but not actually being implemented, I'm kind of beginning to think that it's cursed, which is a real shame, because it is something which Blender desperately needs and should have out of the box. Just an easy way of bringing assets, be they meshes or animations or poses, into your scenes without having to faff about with the linking and appending system. But it is just taking them forever, and the way that they've chosen to implement it is a bit odd, to be honest with you, but we'll see. Hopefully that will get done, and MakeTile will be able to take advantage of that. But for now, I'm just going to clean up the asset manager as it is, and yeah, hopefully that will do for now. So the docs have been updated. If you've not looked at them for a while, definitely check out the release notes to see some of the other changes which have been made over the past few months. And also, the usual thing goes, if you find any bugs, please do let me know. Right, so that's everything for now. Make sure to fully remove the old version of MakeTile and restart Blender before installing the new version. Instructions on how to do that are in the docs. And yeah, I'll see you again soon.